Just when America has reached a breaking point with division, visionary influencer Danni Benson's I'm Proud of You Sis bro movement taps into the pulse and heartbeat of a culture radically torn. But this loving mom's voice of reason and calm has received national recognition.
How'd you balance having your children and always traveling with the Yankee organization?
When I became a dad, I said that I would always love like a mother.
I feel like I have to try certain things or act a different way because I know some people or some kids.
So join Danni Benson as she celebrates her special guests on her show and highlights their gifts and contributions to our world.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to I'm Proud of You Sis. I am host Danni Benson. Please like, share, and follow. Hopefully everyone is having a great day today. Thank you for being here. Please comment, contact me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. If you have any questions that you want to ask me about the show that I'm having or about myself, or if you have someone that wants to come on my show, I'm proud of you, sis. And sometimes I'm proud of you, bro, because I'm proud of the men too. But today I have a special guest. His name is Cornell Bunting. He has a podcast also, and I wanted to do a twist to his podcast because his podcast is called Stories to Create. It's a podcast where he has people come on and people tell their stories from beginning to end and the journeys that they have. And I remember a long time ago, Dr. Phil used to say, he is an acclaimed psychologist, used to be on the Oprah show a lot. There's 7 pivotal points in your life that changes, like that shifts, like the 7 major things in your life that happen that either makes your life go left or right. And I always felt that way. And sometimes when you hear people's stories and the choices they had to make, you wondered if they made another choice, would their life end up the way they're supposed to? Some people say your life is already written before you were born, so the choices were already made for you. But some people say that you make your choices as you go on your journey. So Cornell Bunting is a writer. He has published at least 7 books so far. You could get them on Amazon, amazing books. But he's also have tons and tons and tons of books that he has not published yet. And I'm so happy to have him on my show. He's having a summit coming up about, gender wars and just having different people, guest panels come on their show and just talk about their experiences. And, it's just so much going on. But Mr. Bunting, thank you for coming on. I'm proud of you, sis.
I don't know if there he is.
Yay! Yeah. Hi.
How are you? Thank you for having me on the show.
Thank you so much. First of all, you have an accent. I love the accent. Where are you originally from?
Born Jamaica, but grew
Jamaica man. I love Jamaica. Been there several times. I have friends that are born, raised, and came to this country from Jamaica. So, like I've told you before, my parents are from Haiti, so we are Caribbean neighbors.
Yes.
So I want to say I am so proud of you, bro.
Yes,
I want to give you your cigars because you've been through so much. Yes. And you are a testimony because you are still here today, thriving. And we talked on the phone earlier, and I just want to say, God will bring the people in your life that's going to believe in you, believe in your cause, believe in your dreams, believe in you.
Yeah.
You just have to be, I sometimes feel like you have to go out there and they find you.
Yes.
Yes. My mom used to always say, no one's going to come knocking on your door. Right. So I just want to let you know, I believe in you and just keep going. And just hearing your story amazed me so much profoundly. So I know it will amaze the viewers also. So please tell me about your humble beginnings.
It's spread out so much, but taking the listeners back to Jamaica, I was in sports. I like soccer. I was on track and field. I was really fast in class 3, and then once I got to class 2, I was losing races, so I didn't want to do it no more because I like winning. So
Oh, yeah. Who doesn't like winning? Who doesn't like winning?
right, so I went into soccer, and I was having a lot of fun with soccer, and then there was this one young lady that I had shown some interest that I would love to date her or whatever. And this was in Kingston. This, back in the early 90s in Kingston, where, things was gritty. Like you have to be strong to, because the school I went to was a lot of fighting, a lot of that stuff, so they say the fittest of the fittest survive. But what happened, she was in drama. She was in the acting class, and she said if I wanted to talk to her, I would have to join the drama class. So I joined the drama class, took a liking to the teacher, instructor, and she gave me the opportunity to start writing scenes. And from there, I kind of developed this liking for writing. And, even though I didn't pursue it out of school, I went into hospitality. I got a job as a Caribbean history teacher. I hated it. I felt like it was boring. I mean, kids had fun with me because I was close to their age, but I wanted out. And so I got into the resort of Crown Plaza, where I got into hospitality, and that got me an opportunity to come to America, because when they sold that resort, I was still under contract, so they got me a job in Captiva Island. And I was there, and it was there I said, you know what? I want to become a citizen of this country. I want to open up my own business. I want to go to college, get my degree. And I had a guy like right then when I was saying all that was here for like maybe more than 15 years. He said, that will never happen. He's like, take that off your mind. Here in America, it's about the bills. You pay bills. They're always taken from you. You don't get to really do anything. And so I took that as like fuel. Like, I want to prove this guy wrong, because I know all things are possible when you.
My daughter wants to say hi to you.
Beautiful. And she is so beautiful.
This is London, my gymnastics superstar, and she told me an hour ago, I'm gonna come and say hi to your guest this time.
Listen,
so
London, I saw you.
Yeah.
I saw you flipping, okay?
You saw it.
I saw you flipping, like
on Instagram.
Yes, I saw you flipping.
Yes. You know why I call her London?
Yeah.
Because London is one of my favorite cities. And you said you lived there for a while, right?
I did. My first publisher for Lion with No Roar book, which is the first book I put out, the publisher is in Canary Wharf in London. Aston Macaulay. Yeah.
Wow, that's so funny. Because that's one of my favorite cities. So it goes full circle. So my daughter wanted to meet you, and my daughter is very spiritual. So she was like, Mom, I want to meet him. I was like, okay.
I like that. You know what though? And it's crazy because when I saw her flipping, I was thinking of my 15-year-old who's like a freak of nature. He can stand and just flip, just like that. His freak of nature. But
you want to know what's so crazy? She's actually self-taught. She watched YouTube all summer. So beginning of summer, when school ended, she didn't know how to flip, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then she said, Mommy, I'm gonna show you why I want to be on my iPad all the time. And I was like, no, you're not gonna be. So the deal was she could be on her iPad, but she had to watch educational stuff.
Beautiful.
So she took a liking to gymnastic videos.
Yeah.
So I couldn't tell her no, not to be on it. So all of a sudden, by the time school started, because we have a trampoline, a mat, all of a sudden she's like flipping. She literally taught herself. That's so beautiful. Yesterday, what happened was I didn't want to put fear in her because this child was born fearless.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very careful of not putting fear in her. So I always tell her that there's a difference between me wanting you safe
Yeah.
and me putting fear in you, because you don't want
Right.
to put fear in a child because they don't want to take a risk.
Right. Right.
Then yesterday she's like, "Mommy, you think I could do it on the hard ground? If I get hurt, will you take me to the hospital?"
Yeah.
So I said, because she's flipping, she could hit her head like. So I said I didn't want to give her fear. So I said, you know what, you can do it. And in my heart, I was like, oh God. So she stood there and she did it. And
And
then
she
when she
did it.
did it, so the lesson she learned was, don't let your fear stop you from getting to your greatness.
Right. This is
And
a good lesson right there.
because including me,
Yeah.
I sometimes let fear stop me because I'm overthinking. I'm scared. I'm like, oh, what about this happened, that happened? And you know how many probably great things we could have done if
Mm-hmm.
we didn't let that fear kind of block what we were supposed to do?
Yeah.
And just watching her pass that fear, because sometimes that fear is just 1 second, but it feels like an eternity.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as she passed the fear, then she did it again. And then
Yeah.
she did it again. And it was a satisfaction like, oh my God, Mom, I passed my fear and I can do it. And that's an example for you,
Yeah.
example for me,
Yeah.
example for all our viewers, that I think we were all born great. And sometimes our fear stops us to our fullest potential.
This is very true. I have always, there's the whole method to that, and I think for a lot of us, when we finally understand how that works, I think it gets easier. And it all has to do with change. When there's a time for you to change whatever that routine is that you're doing, to move into the better you, change, once that change is about to occur, that's when all that other comfort, that the comfort zone of the inner you kicks in. And we call it fear, but it kicks in and it's trying to give you all these different scenarios of what if this happened, what if that happened, or just like when someone work a regular job, they have a sure money, they're making, whatever, it's $1,000 a week or whatever, that's sure money. And when that change supposed to happen, you're gonna have that comfort zone gonna kick in and be like, what if you stepping out, you're not gonna have money coming in, you're not gonna be able to pay your bills, all these things, and so the very few that have decided to not listen to that noise and step out and go after their dream, go walk into their purpose, it pays off, because you show the universe that you believe, and you want to bring something into existence that wouldn't come into existence without you being a part of it.
And you're right. And you also tell the universe that sometimes I believe that you attract your thoughts.
Yeah.
So what happens is when you're so fearful,
Mm-hmm.
you're attracting the fear.
Right.
Right? Because it's like this is what the hormones is coming out. It's all the fear. So then the bad things come because you're attracting that.
Mm-hmm.
So what about if we just was positive about it? Then think about all the positive things that would come to attract the energy of our positivity. I feel that your thoughts do dictate the outcome.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Whether
you
you
got
know it or
to
not.
you got to think on it though. Like, so I don't think a lot of us really give into how much spiritual, like we live in a spiritual world. We have spirit that help us, and also we have spirit that can, we can grab their attention because of whatever we're gravitating to, or whatever we're giving our energy to, and that could take us in a whole nother direction. I look at us as vessels, and so we get filled with whatever that is to move into that that greatness that we're destined for. But a lot of us, and it goes back to that what you're saying on fear. A lot of us we let that get the best of us, because we live in a world where a veil sits over our eyes, so we don't necessarily get that opportunity to tune out the noise and to really tap into what we're sent here to do.
I know, and also another negative thing is comfort when we're comfortable.
Well,
You
yeah,
use
I
that
mean,
word comfortable. When you're comfortable, like it's like you're like, okay, your body goes, why go to the unknown? You know
right,
this, you do this all the time. And then
right,
sometimes I tell my kids, growing pains comes from pain and failure.
right,
Like you have to fail to grow. And if you just stay in this little comfort zone thing, yes, it's easy, but you sit still. You're just there. You don't
yeah,
move forward,
yeah,
and you have to learn that it's good to be comfortable, but you don't want to be comfortable forever, because that's not a good thing either, because that means you're not being challenged if you're just comfortable. You
right.
got to
Well,
keep moving, keep pushing, keep
that's
going.
that's the mindset of a lot of people, though. They get to what they want to do, and then they get comfortable, and that's it. They're done doing whatever it is. But we live in a world where we're supposed to be doing community, where we're supposed to be helping others. Once we figured it out, we help others. But everyone is not. That's not the case.
I know you're supposed to pay it forward. I tell people this all the time. You're supposed to pass a baton. You're supposed to, whatever information that you received from your journey, and this is what we were talking about. Your podcast is stories to create, meaning that you want to know people's journey. So then wherever they stop, they pass a baton, and then you continue with all the
Yeah.
information that you got from them, and you continue it, and that's how you build legacies.
Right. So, how that even got created. So, back to what I was saying earlier with
Yes.
my path to becoming an author, and, all these beautiful things that occur. I actually accomplished everything that I said I wanted to accomplish 11 years later from that conversation. And basically, when I opened my security company, that very guy came to me for a job, and I gave him a job, and so, but he was so emotional, and he just says, you taught me, how you can break barriers down and stuff like that. So, but in that time when I had that security company, I was gaining enemies from my competitors because they didn't like I was getting all the jobs. And so they found one of my weakest link, one of the guys that worked for me, to pay money to say, hey, accuse him of giving you money to go kidnap someone, rob them, all these different things. And so
Did they actually, so it was for him to make up the story?
well, yeah, I mean, that's how you fabricate a story. So the goal was to get me out the game. My company was getting all the jobs. So
And
all
what,
they
and
had
what,
to,
and what, and what was the security that you were doing
so
for
physical
people to
security.
understand?
So I provide physical security. So like clubs,
Got it.
business that needs security there, anywhere that needed physical security, I
Security.
provide it. Yeah. And so with that, an accusation was made against me, and from that, I got arrested. I went to jail. I was facing 32 years to life in prison. And
Wow.
while I was there in confinement, it came to me that I was gifted with this gift that I wasn't using. And it was like the universe was saying, you need to tap back into this gift that I gave you, because you have nothing but time right now. You don't know when you're going to leave, and I'm not going to make you think you're going to leave. So use this time that you're here, because you're not going anywhere. Like for me.
So what happened? You were waiting for your trial to start, or you were already convicted of the trial of
No,
the crime?
no. So in maximum security, what they do is you go to a bunch of pre-conference trial. And so while they're doing that, they figure if they should lift the hold off your bond, because I had hold on my bond, so I couldn't bond out. And so once the case was looking more weaker, they removed those whole off the bond, and so my bond went down from like 1.5 million to $365,000.
Wow.
Yeah, so I sold some things. I sold my car, sold some jewelry, some bracelet, stuff like that, and bond out with 10% of that, which was $36,000, $500. And
So I'm just. So how did they arrest you with no evidence? It was just that
oh, they
person's
can do
word.
that because someone accused you. If you get accused of saying, "Hey, we was going to go do this crime, or we went to go do this crime," they ran with that. They ran with that, and they treated it as if something really happened. And they were trying to put me in a because for a minute there, I was like, did I like black out and something happened? Like it was confusing. I mean, it was surreal for a time there because I didn't fully understand what was going on, but it was really, so I look at it as a win, like with that happening. After 3 months I calmed down and I was like, okay, I'm not going anywhere right now, so I'm gonna get some writing pads and I'm just gonna start writing again. And I start writing again, and I wrote 4 books while I was in there. And
How long were you in there for?
10 months.
10 months. And when did they finally find out that this person lied to you? Lied?
3 years later, because they dragged out the whole thing. Like my case became the oldest case. So we had a lot of pre-conference trial. So you're looking at a retainer fee with an attorney for $45,000 plus $250 an hour, and that is going for like years. But when the case became the oldest case and they saw that I wasn't taking a plea deal, they went ahead and did trial.
So they want you to do a plea deal for something that you didn't do?
Right, I know. Like
it's
I'm
so
like
insane. It's so insane.
It was terrible. I was like, I don't.
Like they put you in a weird position. You didn't do it.
Right.
But if you don't take the plea, you're gonna be there longer if you found guilty, and you can find guilty just for the point that you don't even have a good lawyer.
Right. That's the worst. When you don't have a good lawyer, they're gonna sink you and that's one of the things they were threatening me with was, if we find you guilty on any of these charges, because it was 16 felony charges.
And how many years? How many years you were looking at?
32 to life.
Oh, 32 to life. Okay, let me ask you a question. I'm so intrigued. What were they accusing you of? Because of killing someone? Because the person is not dead. So what were they actually accusing you of doing?
Well, they were acting like they didn't know that. They thought someone actually got killed. They thought a business got robbed. They thought we tied people up in the business and we robbed them and we did all this stuff. So they did a charge on every person that worked at that place.
But how can they do that I understand you saying you have to be accused, but isn't there video? Isn't there cell phones? Isn't there ways that you could prove you're innocent before they even arrest you? Like, you're going to tell me someone could say you did something, and then if they believe it or believe that person who's accusing you, then that's it?
They did that to me here. And
and let everybody know where here is. You are
here is in Southwest Florida. I'm in Fort Myers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that like the west? Is like the west of Florida, or is it south?
Southwest Florida.
Southwest Florida.
Yeah. So you're looking like, so I'm like in the middle of Miami and Orlando. So Orlando is like 3 hours east from me. Miami is 2 hours south.
Wow, it's so scary. It's such a scary thing. So how long you ended up being in did you actually have a trial, or did you go to prison, or how long?
Yeah. So I got bond out after 10 months and I had to set until the case. So like 3 years, we went to trial. And on the third day they put the accuser on the on the stand, and he was venting. It was a guy that actually worked for my company, and he was venting. He was venting that he didn't like the locations that I was putting him. He didn't like that I was black. He didn't like that I was young, because when I opened my company, I was 32, going on 33. And so there was all these things he was complaining about. And then my attorney said, how much they paid you? And he told him how much they paid him. And then when he said that, he realized he just told on himself and the people, and so that's how the whole thing kind of just got crumbled. So
What, did he ever go to jail for
Nope.
falsifying?
Nope. He's a white dude.
Wow.
I know that's kind of
Wow.
crazy to say, but I don't think it's really a different. The playing field is different when it comes to, and we never want to use the race situation, but in a lot of ways, this color, the dark skin color gets a worse treatment than the white color, and so it's what it is. But yeah, he got nothing happened with him. I know he was like packing groceries in a bag, like bag grocery, whatever it was. So, and I told him I forgave him. It wasn't nothing to hold on to, because the one thing I know about life is when you hold on to things from the past, it keeps you from continuing to progress, to keep you from moving forward. And for me, I realized I had lost all this money. So, I'm like, okay, what am I going to do to keep going? And that was to look at my options and how I can, proceed. But I had already discovered my purpose while I was there, because things got put into perspective, and after meeting a lot of the guys that had came in there, it was bothering me, because, there were a lot of young guys. The crime that they were coming in didn't make sense. And I was like, imagine if we live in a world where youth had a better developed mindset, where they could see the value in who they are, how they could add value to society, what that could look like. We wouldn't have so much crime. A lot of these kids, when they're put in a situation, they would say, you know what, there's another way. I don't need to do this, or I don't need to do that. So for me, because all the stories were so different, I was like, you know what? Everyone has a story. Everyone has a story. It doesn't matter how they got here. There's a story behind that. And so for me, it was, when I do get an opportunity to, get my books published and get a few books out there that people are buzzing on, and I'm making a little bit of money, I'm going to try to open up an organization that would help the youths. But the books, the funds was coming in a little slow, because we still had to get all that situation sorted. And the following year, they expunged that all those accusation off my name. So it became easier, and so I had started working with some youths in London that was in the stabbing gang, and I got a few of them out of it. And the mayor that was my friend here, he said, hey, you should try that program that you tried with those guys, with the youths here in the projects, and see what that looked like. And I did, but the issue was that no one was helping. And so he said, why don't you open up a nonprofit organization? And so I did. That's how I came up with EOS, which means everyone has a story. And then everything inside of that is called Stories to Create, so an event is Stories to Create, and so what that look like is, how do we inject ourselves in lives that are individuals going through adversity, but they don't know how to use that adversity to find purpose? How can we go in and help and show them, like, hey, you do have a story, and that's the story that we can help you create. And so that was kind of how all that was birthed. And the organization, because it moved so fast, I filed for like the 501c3. It took 2 years to get it. Once I got it, we did a launch for the organization, and from there, we had some schools that were like, okay, let's see what you got. And so for me, it's always big on how to think critically. So we did a course on critical thinking, then understanding your responsibilities, what financial literacy look like, how to be assertive, what communication look like, how to read body language, all these things. And so that was where we said, okay, we find what we can provide, because you want to meet a need. And so we realized how we could go in and address these youths and help to develop their mindset. So the organization helped to create self-reliance and a growth mindset for disadvantaged youths, or youths at risk, if you would say.
Got it.
Yeah. And so from there, Stories to Create podcasts is another way to generate a revenue for the organization. And so, we're on every platform, between the Apple all the way to iHeartRadio, all of them. Stories to Create podcast is there. And so we wanted it to be unique, where every individual we bring on the show, and you go back and you see the different guests that have came on the show, they're all individuals that are making a difference in the community. They're impacting lives, and even not just, because we even had college student that came on that are helping other students in those schools. But the way we do the show, we do it in such a unique way, where we go back with our guests, and they talk about different times in their life that really shape them to the individual they are today, and why they're passionate about what they're doing today. So that's so after the show is done, the guests get to see the different stories that were created in the show, and what that have, like, all those different turning points to take them to where they are now. Like my latest guest, like that I just had on the show, really interested gentleman, and for me, I call him a very decorative guy because of all the different things he's done. And one of the things that he done here in Southwest Florida for a lot of people, he brought Marilyn Manson here, and they look at Marilyn Manson as the gothic icon.
He's a god. He's a gothic god.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, like,
And
yeah. He. I think he is the what's that word? He is the original gothic.
Yeah.
God, Marilyn Manson.
He goes
Yeah,
hard, but
he's a classic.
He brought him here, and he sold so much of Marilyn's paintings because he was doing the water painting. But he was talking the story on, touching on even how that even happened and how it was possible. But just listening to the way it was just played out, and just the way we kind of steered the conversation, it was beautiful. So, and pretty much all the shows, when you go back and you listen some of them, that's how they play out. It's just the different things that have really brought one's interest to wanting to do more, not just settle for what is there, because I've been to places, like I remember when I lived in Jamestown, upstate New York. I met individuals up there that never been anywhere else in the world. They've never left that place, and they're like, "We're never."
It's amazing, isn't it so like profound when I meet people that, and you probably met people too, that always just lived here and never like left the state,
That's
never
it.
left maybe they left their town, but maybe not their county.
Yeah,
Like, New York City has 5 boroughs.
yeah,
And, I've heard people in Brooklyn, I never been to the Bronx. I'm like, how you never been to the Bronx? Or people in Staten Island, never been to the Bronx or Queens. I'm like, how, like, you guys are like, right. But it's just weird. It's what we were talking before. It's a comfort zone.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Some people feel comfortable. When people say they haven't left the country, I'm like, you haven't left the country or the state?
yeah, yeah.
So it's just there's so many humans in this world that has not even experienced
Nothing.
what's out there.
What is out there? And I got to tell you
Out
that
there.
I have met some people that I understood. I understood why they don't even want more. Like they're content. When I was in
Why?
Soweto, like it was crazy because I went to one of the village in Soweto
Where's Soweto at?
so Soweto is in Johannesburg, which is
Oh,
down
in South
in
Africa.
South Africa. So Soweto is like the biggest township. The township is huge. But like you have and a lot of red dirt road or whatever, but in the
Is it
village,
clay? Is it clay road? Like it's clay?
yeah, it looks like clay. Yeah, it's because it's
Yeah,
kind of
it's
like
clay.
a dark orange type of,
Orangey color. Yeah,
yeah.
it's clay. Yes.
But it was really nice just seeing that and just seeing what that culture is and just like meeting, like the elders of the village and just different individuals. But they were so content. And it was like them putting something on me that was like a lot of times when you see more, you want to dive into more. The more you see, the more you want to see. Like you're more curious on what else is there. And so one of the things that had hit me really hard was a story that we had talked on, me and them, Diamond in the Rough. And I wrote it actually in my latest book, Escaping the Darkness, Using Adversity to Find Purpose. But he was asking me about, did I know about this guy that he had this farm? It was a huge farm. But he had all these friends that was about the diamonds. All they was, paying attention was with the bling, and like, they're like, you should get into the diamonds, and this guy had a huge land, and he listened to his friends like saying, hey, get rid of this. And so he got rid of the land. He sold his land, sold his property, everything, and used the money to try to go find diamonds because he was like, I'm going to find diamonds and I'm going to get rich and all these things. And he did it for so long, he got discouraged. And literally, he killed himself because he gave up. He was like, I've got rid of my land. I'm searching for something that I won't find, all these things. The guy that he sold it to, maybe a couple weeks in that him owning it, he went down like to where the stream was and he saw this rock. It was like just a weird looking rock and he picked it up, brought it home to put it on his mantle. And his friend came and his friend was like, you know what this is that you have here? And he's like, no, I have a bunch of them down at the stream, it's like a little river stream, And he was like, dude, this is possibly the biggest diamond that has ever been found. And he's like,
the guy who sold his land had diamond in his land?
He had diamond in his land, but because he never took the time to know what diamond in the rough looked like, he didn't know those were diamonds. And he sold the land. So, the moral of the story was, though, a lot of us already have so much gift within us that we don't necessarily know. But because we pay attention to everything that's going on out here in the world, we chase after that stuff. We want to be a part of what's trending. And before we know it, we've lived a life and then we've passed. We haven't even got a chance to tap into what our purpose is. And so, it was one of those things where, and when that hit me, I'm like, yo, look at that. Because even sometimes the very people that's around you sometime is the person that could really take you to the next level. But because you never look at those person as that person,
You're
you know,
right.
you never tap into that, you know. And I think because of all the different stories that you hear with, you know, friends did this, or, you know, like, you know, I did a video the other day about, you know, why I am the way I am, because, you know, I've gotten stabbed in the back so much times. And the thing that surprised me is when I turn around to see who's stabbing me in the back, you know. And
Mm.
those are like some of the things where, like, I think people get scared sometimes because, you know, you can have a bunch of people around you, and sometimes
And
the
you don't
people,
know who's loyal to you.
right, you don't know who's loyal, you don't know who wants to hurt you, and
You don't know people's agendas.
that's it. It's bad. And then you want to know who envy you, because
Mm.
that's the most dangerous person, the one that envy you,
Envies
because
you.
that person will hurt you bad. And so the people that are jealous of you, it's okay, because you're gonna
Oh,
have
so
people
yeah,
jealous.
you're gonna have people that are jealous. But
Yeah.
envy is worse than jealous.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Envy is serious. Like a person that's envy of you will definitely get rid of you. And you know, it was, and this could be looked at in a bad way, but you have guys that, like, they come to this country, they get into like the drug world, you know, or whatever, and they bring up their friends because they're making so much money and all this, and that friend comes, envy them, and what do you think that friend do? It gets rid of them. You know, the very person that they help come and kill them, but that person never stopped to think on learn the business yourself, you know, and at some point say, oh, hey, I'm gonna branch out, make it bigger, or whatever that looks like, you know. But you know, a lot of us don't get the opportunity to train our minds to be as developed, you know. And even in relationships, you have relationships where adults are not as developed head mindset wise. So a lot of times certain things that will occur in a relationship, the communication of it will go so bad because they're not as developed to understand, okay, this was done because of this, you know. Or like I was telling some ladies I was in a room talking with, and they were like, you know, they keep getting with all these guys that are the same and all these things. And I'm like, the biggest thing for a lot of people is learning, when you go through a situation, paying attention to detail in what was all going on there. Because anytime you're going through trials and tribulations, there's lessons for you to pick on that will
Mm-hmm.
help you to evolve into the better you.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of times we're so bitter at the person that's doing it, we're not seeing the lessons that are being taught to us. And so
Mm.
because we never catch the lesson in that situation, we get in another relationship and we go through the same thing again
Mm-hmm.
because we
Mm-hmm.
didn't. So, and that's how the universe works. The universe is going to keep putting it in your face until you get it. And then you move to something else to get to your better you. Because, you know, a 20-year-old me was hoping to meet the 30-year-old me, but it will never happen because I keep evolving. You know, you know, the older you get and you pay attention to detail, you get wiser. You know,
Yes,
you
you do.
understand how to, yeah, you go in a room,
Understand how
you
to maneuver.
yeah, you meet people there that know more than you, and all you have to do is just sit back and listen, take it in,
Mm-hmm.
because that's how you learn. And once you know, you have evolved and you find yourself around people that are at a different perception. Now you got to understand, how do I take them from this perception and bring them to this perception and help them understand as they go. Because, and a lot of times, a lot of us, we talk to individuals at the perception we're at, and because they're at such a low perception, they don't get nothing we're saying.
Wow. Yeah, there's definitely levels to it. So what are you doing next? Like, what is the next plan for your life, the next journey, the next, like, what, because I know you write books,
Mm-hmm.
you're a writer,
Mm-hmm.
but I know you want the world to know who you are. You have a
Mm-hmm.
podcast.
Mm-hmm.
So what is on your wish list?
So there's a few. I have milestones, right? I have goals that I've set. I have milestone that I'm trying to get to. So, getting EOS, the organization that I have.
Because you have a nonprofit. Yeah.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. So I want to help as much young minds as possible to do better, to see that they can do better in their community. And for me is, so we're currently opening up a location in Jamaica where I'm working with youths there. A lot of the members on the organization, they're spread out. My external committee chair, young lady, she's in New York. So we have individuals kind of spread out around America, and then we have officers in Jamaica that will, kind of move that leg. We, get in the courses better to where, the youth can enroll in a course and evolve and understand, what that look like. And then getting on the New York Times bestseller list. I have a novel that's coming up. It's a 3-series novel, and my hope is to push it to where it gets to number one. So I'll have my 4th number one, but it'd be my first number one and the New York Times
New York
bestseller.
Times bestsellers list.
Right. I've had Amazon bestseller and number one, but I haven't had the New York Times bestseller. So those are the goals there, and just keep reaching lives, and as much as I can get to the youths in America, and then different situations that I can address, or initiatives that you would say that I can address outside of here that needs that need to be met.
So okay, so all right, so with you are going to be in the New York Times bestsellers list. I just want to put that out there, because I just think that more people need to know you, and more people need to hear your story.
Mm-hmm.
Because if somebody accused me of something I didn't do, I don't know if I could be as forgiving as you.
Yeah.
But I understand why you forgave, because when you don't forgive, it holds so much stress in your body that sometimes you make your body acidic, and with the acidity in your body, the acidic in your body, you kill yourself. Like you maybe you're not killing yourself physically, but it's like a slow death, right? Because you're damaging your cells, because you're holding on to this thing, and you're giving the other person the power. Because when you forgive, you release. You let go. So I had to commend you for your courage to forgive, because you have children, you lost wealth, you lost your business, so many things that you've lost because of somebody who was envious of you. But the reason that you're inspirational, because you show people out there that there's other ways to deal with adversity. You don't have to go the negative route to deal with adversity, because when you go the negative route, it's still going to affect you negatively anyway.
Anyways. Yep. You got it.
So it's better to look at the brighter side of things, because it's the only way that you can be free.
Oh, yeah. You want to be free, because you don't function well if you're not free. So, it's a beautiful thing. And, I encourage individuals to, tap into that, and not hold on to grudges, or not hold on to stuff that have happened. Even don't hold on to stuff that happened 2 days ago.
Yeah.
It's done. It's done. Spoiled milk. You can't
Spoiled
do
milk.
that with spoiled milk.
You can't do nothing. But I want to say, Mr. Button, thank you so much for coming on. I'm proud of you, bro. You have an amazing story. Please let people just know how to find you.
Yeah, so you guys can go to my website, cornellbunting.com. Find me on Instagram, cornleg9, or just Google me. Just Google me, Cornell Bunting, and you will see what's going on in my world. You know, we got a lot of stuff going on.
Okay, and if anybody wants to go on his show, please contact him so he can hear and the audience can hear your story as well. Thank you so much for coming on I'm Proud of You, Sis, featuring I'm Proud of You, Bro. And I will see you guys next week. Thank you, Mr. Button. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you, and I'm proud of you, sis.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye, guys. Have a great evening. Bye.